Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I know this update is way long overdue, so I'm going to be doing today my 4 and 5 week bump date and an update on what happened at our ultrasound. So first off, I'm going to start off by going over some symptoms that came about at my 4-week pregnant mark. I told you guys how during my 2-week wait, I didn't have a whole lot of symptoms that, you know, gave me a clue that I could be possibly pregnant. I really thought that I wasn't pregnant this cycle. But as soon as 4 weeks hit, I started getting some symptoms, minor symptoms, but definitely started to kind of get those pregnancy symptoms coming about. So I made some notes here throughout the weeks. I made some notes for 4 weeks and I made some notes for 5 weeks. A lot of them are all the same, so that's why I combined week 4 and week 5 together. Today I'm 6 weeks and 3 days pregnant. And my weeks turn over on Tuesdays, so it's just hard for me to get a video out and published right around that time because right when the weeks turn over, because I work and just there's a lot of things going on throughout the weekdays, so it's usually like on my day off, like today, I'll do a video and update you guys. So I'm just gonna kind of go with the flow on these videos. I hope that that's okay. I don't really set a schedule for myself. I'm sure you're aware of that already, but I just try to do as many as I can. So I'll really try now that I'm pregnant to do these weekly bump dates. But so for 4 weeks, I definitely started breaking out. I don't know if you guys can notice, but I still have some breakouts, and that kind of actually, I guess, started during the end of my 2-week wait, but you know, it's not like I never get a pimple here and there, so I didn't really think anything of it. Definitely started getting more bloating, more gas, the tiredness, towards the end of the 2-week wait. When I found out I was pregnant, I had noticed that I was getting more tired, headaches here and there. The boobs definitely started in week 4, so my boobs just feel very full, heavy, you know, sore, that kind of thing. Part of that I also was told that is partly because of the endometrium that I'm taking, the progesterone that I'm taking, so that's probably just heightened because of the medication. I started kind of spacing out. This happened last time I was pregnant too. I had what's called pregnancy brain, so just being kind of klutzy or forgetful, that kind of thing. And I noticed when I was at work, I was just kind of being forgetful, like I was doing something and I was supposed to take something somewhere, but then I completely forgot and didn't even take it with me, and I don't know, and I'm just like, what am I doing? So that happened in week 4. My smell, sense of smell had heightened in week 4. Started getting a little bit of car sickness, obviously the frequent urination, going to the bathroom a lot. One of the biggest things is that I had mentioned how I had been spotting, and that stopped for the most part in week 4. But there was a lot more other stuff going on down there, a little TMI, but a lot more like, I don't know if it's discharge or more cervical mucus, but stuff like that was going on down there. And that actually, if I think about it, I started taking, when did I start taking the progesterone? I think I started taking the progesterone in week 5 actually, guys. Like, so 4 weeks, 6 days is when I started taking the progesterone. So the boobs being sore in week 4 was actually all me, not the progesterone, because I actually started taking the progesterone towards the end of week 4 into week 5. So, and I was very irritable in week 4 is what I mentioned. So just, you know, it was just a little bit of this and that, nothing crazy, nothing a ton of, you know, symptoms that are just like overwhelming me. I don't have nausea. In week 5, I felt like I had some bouts of nausea, like throughout the day. It would come and go, and it wasn't to the point where I was like, yep, I'm nauseous, but it felt like an uneasiness in my stomach, like Like it felt like maybe I had eaten something wrong, that kind of thing. Like if you eat something wrong, or like eat something bad, or eat something too fast, like that uneasiness in the stomach, that kind of is what I started feeling in week 5. I started getting really thirsty. I had one day where I had a little bit of heartburn. The gassiness continued, the irritability continued, obviously the running to the bathroom continued, fatigue, tired, all that stuff. So not like I said, not a lot of stuff. So it doesn't make sense to make a video for week 4 and then a different video for week 5. Obviously, I would just clump them all together. So I am feeling good for the most part. I'm working. I haven't had any episodes of throwing up or like major nausea. I get those hormonal headaches, you know, here and there. Lots going on in the body. A lot of blood flow is increasing, water retention, all that kind of stuff. So the headaches are pretty normal is what I hear. And I'm still on the endometrium. Today I had my second ultrasound scan. So on July 27th, I believe it was July 27th, I told you guys that I was going in for my first 28th. I was going in for my first ultrasound. They wanted me to come in earlier than I had suspected because according to my first day of the last menstrual period, I should be at currently 8 weeks 2 days. So when I went in last week, I technically would have been 7 weeks 2 days, but according to my ovulation, which I know because I've charted it extensively, I did not ovulate until way late, so I knew that I was only 5 weeks 3 days along. So I knew that it could be possibly too early. That kind of made me nervous. I know going into that that appointment that day, I was really, really nervous. I was nervous because it's just, it being so early, there's not really much that you can see anyways, and that just gives you more anxiety because you just can't see much, you know, and you want to see something and you want that confirmation that the baby's doing well, but at 5 weeks 3 days, it's like not much. So honestly, I don't know how I felt coming out of that appointment. We did an internal scan last Friday, and he saw a gestational sac and a yolk sac within that gestational sac, and he measured the gestational sac, and he said that the gestational sac was measuring a little bit further along. That's all he said. He didn't say how far along it was measuring, if he was concerned about it, if I should be concerned about it. The scan was fairly quick, and he just measured things, you know, took some pictures of the yolk sac and labeled that. At least, you know, at least there was a yolk sac, but we didn't see a fetal pole. Obviously, we didn't see a heartbeat or anything like that. And I just kind of came away with that, at that appointment, just kind of nervous. That day, I kind of had a breakdown because I was just like, oh my God, this is happening to me again. I know it. Like, how can this be happening again? Shouldn't we have seen a fetal pole at least? Shouldn't he have spent a little more time? I don't know. I just felt really discouraged from that appointment, but I didn't let it get to me. I just kind of felt a little down that day, and then the rest of the week I just kept trying to be positive, telling myself it's gonna be okay. I prayed every night. I prayed that the baby would be growing, the baby would be healthy, and that we would see a heartbeat at the next appointment. Because basically he kind of left it off as, well, there's not really much that we can see right now. We don't really know what's going on. We'll have to see you in a week. So that's what I went in for today, the second scan today. I had all these questions too for him, and I just was like, in the moment, I just was like not thinking, and I forgot to ask him because I wanted to ask him things about the progesterone that I'm taking, and I wanted to ask him about like some of the spotting that I had experienced, if that was normal, and also I wanted to ask him if he thought that the fact that my progesterone is slightly low this time around, that maybe that could have been possibly something that happened last time, and since I wasn't being treated for low progesterone, could that have been a contributing factor to why we had a miscarriage? But honestly, in reality, like, those are questions that really there's no definitive answers for. So I asked those questions today, and she said, she basically gave me that kind of answer. It's like progesterone and luteal phase defect type of thing is a very controversial topic because there are women that have shorter luteal phases and they ovulate and get pregnant and have a healthy pregnancy just fine, whereas other women don't. And it's like there's that controversy, and that's, studies based on those kind of things. So I know that my current OB doesn't believe in luteal phase defect. So I'm not sure. Let's be honest. I have made a decision to change my OB practitioner. Not that I have anything against her and that she did anything wrong. I think that for the situation that I was in, she handled it just fine. But really what I want is, I feel like that it being my first pregnancy and it being that it turned out not the way that we expected it to, in a very traumatic way, like, we lost the baby and a miscarriage and everything. I just feel like she could have been a little bit more sympathetic, if not empathetic, a little bit more compassion in the way that she presented herself to me and with the concerns that I brought up to her within the last 10 months that we've been trying and such. And I can appreciate the fact that she's very straightforward and that she just kind of gave me a lot of positive affirmation, like, don't worry, you're young, you're gonna get pregnant, you've gotten pregnant before, don't worry. But at the same time, in my gut feeling, I had a feeling that there was something going on, and so it didn't sit well with me. So all in all, to get a different, experience, and I would like to change my OB. So I've researched a little bit, and I think I'm going to change over to another doctor once I graduate from the fertility clinic. Because although we hadn't done any fertility treatment with them yet, we did have a consult, and they've been so nice, and I appreciate them so much for seeing me and monitoring me the last few weeks, doing my blood tests and having me come in for these ultrasounds and keeping an eye on the baby. So next week, if all goes well, that will be the last ultrasound appointment with the fertility specialist, and then I will make my next OB appointment, ultrasound appointment with my new OB, and they're gonna see me probably within the next few weeks because they want to see me within my first trimester. So either at like 9 or 10 weeks, I'll probably go in to see my new OB. So today is August 4th, and it's exactly a week after we had our first ultrasound. And this time around, the doctor was out of town or out of the office, so we had the physician's assistant do the ultrasound for us, and I really liked her. She was really nice. And she was very informative and very upbeat, so I really appreciated that. And I told her my concerns about, the last scan. There wasn't really much to say and to see, so it kind of made me nervous. And so she went in there, and I could already tell that the gestational sac had grew, so that was good. There was still a yolk sac, and she was trying to look around for the baby, and it was kind of hard to see. Usually the baby is just right off of the yolk sac or something like that, but she found something right underneath the yolk sac, and she measured it, and it measured 6 weeks 3 days. It's exactly how far along I should be based on my charting from my ovulation, but it didn't really look like a baby or anything. It looked like maybe a 5-week-old fetal pole. So it was just kind of long and linear, and there was no heartbeat with it. And so she was kind of giving me that, I just don't see a strong heartbeat. Obviously there is none. I can see that there is none, and I just was praying. I mean, up until the doctor even came into the room, I was praying so hard. I was just asking God, please, 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 All I want to see today is a baby and a heartbeat flutter, you know, on the monitor. That's all I'm asking for today. Today I'm pregnant, tomorrow's not promised, but please, 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 if this is meant to be and this is our journey and this is the way, this is our baby and the way it's supposed to be, like, just please show me a baby and a heartbeat. And so I just kept saying that until she came in, and while she was looking around afterwards, even, you know, to do some more searching, she measured the gestational sac. It was measuring ahead still again. So last week when I went in, I was 5 weeks 3 days, but the gestational sac was measuring 5 weeks 6 days. So it was ahead a little bit. And this time too, the baby should be measuring 6 weeks 3 days, but the gestational sac was measuring 7 weeks. So it's still a little bit ahead. But she did mention that, because I had said that, oh, so that's still a little ahead, and she said, well, that's okay. I'd rather see that than it be lagging. That's what she said, which was reassuring because I didn't have that reassurance last time. He just said, well, it is measuring a little bit ahead though, and he didn't say how far ahead or anything like that. But so she was looking around some more, and I noticed that, like, kind of to the side of the gestational sac, there was like a little flickering, you know, and nothing was like very definitive as far as like a shape of a baby or anything. It was like really squished up to the side, so it was like hiding, but it just kept fluttering like this. And she was looking and looking, and I was like, well, what's that on the side right there? And she goes, well, yeah, I don't know, well, let's look at that, you know. And like she was like scanning, and you can see like the yolk sac was attached to it when she was like scanning like that. And when she went over there, it just, you know, you still see that flickering. And so she focused in on it. She, you know, did the, like, I don't know what that is, like, you can't hear the heartbeat yet, but there's like this thing that they I don't know, some sort of Doppler thing, and it shows you like a scan. And she'll measure like the intervals, and she like grabbed my arm and she felt my pulse. She grabbed my other arm and felt my pulse. She's like, yeah, no, that's not you, you know. And she measured it, and it was 120 beats per minute, guys. Oh my god, I was so relieved there was a heartbeat. And the baby's like hiding, so she was measuring it, and you know, like, from what she could tell, it was measuring 6 weeks 3 days, which is exactly where I should be based on my ovulation. So I'm feeling so good, and I was like, that's the baby, right? You know, and that's the heartbeat. And she's like, yeah, it looks to be like it, but she doesn't want to say anything like definitive because she can't tell for sure yet. So we measured that. She, you know, took the pictures and did all this stuff, and she loaded all the pictures and everything onto my USB for me. And she said, well, let's just see you back in another week, and we'll see how far, you know, how the baby's progressing. And she said, you know, at this point, it should just, you know, the baby should be more visible by next week, and the heartbeat should be pretty prominent by then. You know, 120, she said, was pretty good for measuring around the 6 weeks 3 days mark. And so it seems like everything's going well. So next week on Friday, I go in for my last scan, if everything goes well with them, and then I will graduate from them. I did ask how long I'm supposed to be on this endometrium progesterone suppositories, and she said that I need to stay on it till week 10. The issue, I mean, obviously I'm going to do it, and having a baby is not cheap, so this is like a minor detail, but my insurance doesn't cover this medication. It's considered a IVF medication, and my insurance doesn't cover IVF. They cover other fertility treatments and drugs and, you know, like lab work and things like that, but I've tried to get this pre-approved and appealed once, and they've denied me. So I have to pay for it out of pocket, which for 1 box of endometrium is a 7-day course for me because I do it 3 times a day, morning, afternoon, and evening. And for a week's worth of endometrium is $243. Crazy. So I've had it for 2 weeks now. I've paid for 2 of them now, and I have to have it for 4 more weeks. It's gonna cost me almost $1,500 at the end of it all. So that's a big chunk of change. But I'm glad I'm doing it because it is for my baby, and it gives me peace of mind that if that is an issue, then it won't be because I'm being proactive about it. So yeah, that sucks. And endometrium in itself is a whole nother thing. If you guys have been on vaginal suppository progesterone, let me know how your experience was. I don't know if you guys are interested in my experience so far, but it's definitely an interesting thing. I mean, it's not the greatest thing in the world. But I will do it for my baby, and I will do whatever it takes for my baby if that means that I can bring home a healthy baby. Anyways, so that is the update for now. I'm so sorry to keep you guys waiting, but like I said, I make these videos when I can. I work, you know, I have a household to keep, and you know, I have a life, so but I will keep you guys updated as much as I can. I am entering into my 7 weeks this week, so I will have a 6-week and 7-week bump date coming up here real soon with another update on my ultrasound and what I am going to end up doing with my OB. So I hope you guys have a great weekend, and I'll catch you guys later. Thanks, bye.